Robin.
How's everyone doing out there?
Goody good.
That's good.
Radio Land.
David Simon says he'll make season 6 of The Wire if the government ends the war on drugs.
What's with crazy people?
I don't know.
Well, they're asking him to make it.
Yeah.
That was his response to them asking
Oh, okay, that's funny.
So obviously he's not going to do that.
Yeah.
And you know the guy that said the world's ending?
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk about it after Simon Pegg. Man who claimed Judgment Day would be last month. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Sure
He
do.
suffered a stroke.
Oh, good.
No way.
Maybe for him.
Suffered a stroke. What's that
Perfect.
about?
That's payback.
From God?
Wow, yeah. God is
creepy.
saying, don't you talk for me. Don't you talk for me, or you won't be able to talk.
And the eHarmony broad with the cats.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Fake or real?
Yeah, I think it's fake.
But still funny, right?
Yeah, I think it's a gag, though.
We'll play it a little later if you haven't heard
Sure,
it yet.
come on in.
Simon Pegg!
There he is.
Welcome
How
back
you
to
doing,
the
man?
Opie Anthony Show, sir.
Look at that. I like that industrial look.
How you doing? See you.
How you doing, man?
Are we on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
we
just straight in.
We always do that. It's like people come in and go, "Is this actually a show?"
It's nice, you know,
Are
it's
we
nice
on?
to be back because last time we were here, me and Nick were in such a bad mood. Do you remember?
Oh
we
man,
we were like the grumps.
what
from
happened? Yeah,
hell.
We were
Were
just...
you?
Yeah, it was that day. It was the day that whole Don Imus thing broke.
Yep.
And then I can't remember what happened. Our schedule was all messed up. And we
Yeah, you had
came in.
just gotten in. You're like you had just flown across the
Really
Atlantic. And,
mad.
Yeah.
This is my first one though. I'm really upbeat, optimistic.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
And you got a book out.
I got a book out.
That's fantastic.
I'm just milking it.
It was yeah. Well, you
Yeah,
might as well, right?
You got it,
Strike
haven't you,
while the
these days?
iron's hot, as they say.
Yeah, we were remembering back that it was just one of those weird days. It happens.
Yeah.
Like,
And there was all that everyone was talking about. What can you say? What can't you say?
Well, we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
really annoyed because that's our thing, the Don Imus thing. We don't want to be kicked off the air for
Yeah, of
trying to
course.
entertain our audience.
Everybody
That's
was
ridiculous.
petrified.
And yeah, all that sort of like knee-jerk PC kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was that here or was that the other studio?
It was
That
the
was
other
a
studio.
K-Rock.
Oh, K-Rock.
Yeah.
That was a K-Rock.
Regular radio.
Anyway, it's good
Yes.
to be back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's nice
good
to
to have
see
you.
you
I've
guys.
been
You know
a
we're big
huge
fans. So.
Huge fan, man.
Sam and I
Huge
saw
fan.
you at Comic-Con.
Oh, you did?
We were on that awful round table. We were trying to get interviews, but they didn't tell us it was like for print media. So me and Sam, were you with Sigourney Weaver and Jeffrey Tambor?
Yeah.
Oh, the movie was called
yeah.
Paul.
Paul, yeah.
You weren't in the group with them. You were in the other group.
That's right, yeah, we were
you
on
were
a
with the
different
director, and
Yeah.
you know, it was so awkward trying to hold a microphone and get the answers for radio. It was fucking humiliating. But you were very nice.
Oh, good.
Happens.
I'm glad.
The book looks great because this is like we've kind of watched what you've done over the years, and
Yeah.
of course, Shaun of the Dead was the real break open. Like we know who Simon Pegg is,
Right.
and, like internationally. And now, in just a few short years, I'm perusing through this book, and you're working with the likes of Spielberg
Yeah.
and Lucas.
Who knew?
Yeah, and now growing up as you were a big fan of Star Wars and
Yeah,
science fiction
massive.
and whatnot.
I mean, in England, we have this bizarre situation whereby in Britain, we have this huge country, in America, which speaks our language, which has all this stuff, cool stuff. So we look at America from this little island.
Yeah.
That's hundreds of times bigger than we are, but it speaks the same language, and we get all this stuff. And so we're in awe of it, really, growing up. I was,
Yeah, absolutely. And then to meet these guys,
It's
and
insane.
work with them has to be
Crazy.
Has to be something. Any
Me and Nick just did,
misconceptions?
no, not at all. I mean,
yeah, they were all cool and
Steven
everything.
Spielberg's a lovely guy, and we did Tintin, which will be out later this year, and that was fantastic to sit and talk to him about stuff and get excited. Well, not get excited in front of him, just nod and look really kind of like grown up,
yeah.
and then have a little spaz attack in the hall outside because he was so
Yeah, I don't
excited.
doubt it, man. Do these guys ever comment on your work and like wow, I really enjoyed
Yeah, well, we managed to get Stephen to do a little cameo in Paul, actually, which was nice.
Yeah.
And he sent me a nice email about when he saw the film that he really enjoyed it, but the guy that played Steven Spielberg was terrible, he said. But, they do. I mean, people like Steven Spielberg and, they're film fans themselves. So the reason I got into Star Trek and Mission Impossible was because J.J. Abrams saw Shaun of the Dead and just called me at my office and said, "Hey, do you want to be in a film?"
That is
wow.
that's
I was like,
amazing, man.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
So it's all dumb luck.
Is this book a comedy, or is it like your life, or is it kind of a combination?
Well, it's like I was a bit weird about writing a memoir because I wanted to do like a sort of production diary with pictures of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then maybe our next one, when that World's End, when that comes out. And the publishers said, why don't you write a memoir? And I felt like it was a bit up myself and a bit, I'm 41, is it time to do that? But then they said, no, you do that or you don't write a book. So I was like, okay, I will do it.
I'm on it.
And so what it is, it's like a bit of a memoir, but there's a comedy sort of fiction story which runs through it as well. It's about me as a sexually devastating superhero. Which whenever you get bored of all the self-indulgent, I remember when stuff, you get a bit of a break.
Back when I was young.
Yeah.
I love the picture with George Lucas, because you have a look on your face like, holy shit, that's George Lucas. It's the only way to read that.
That was a crazy night.
That's like, am I really standing next to George Lucas?
But he said a really weird thing to me, because I went out to meet him, and well, here's an instance of what you were talking about. He was with Ron Howard, and Ron Howard is like Shaun of the Dead. His kids particularly like Shaun of the Dead, and he sort of George Lucas looked at me like, oh, here we go, there's another 30-something loser whose life I changed. Who's going to gush all over me, literally. And at that moment, Ron Howard said, hey, man, my kids love your movie. And George Lucas suddenly changed and kind of became like, oh, you're a filmmaker, we'll talk. And,
okay.
And he said, listen, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't be making the same film 30 years from now.
That's funny.
Now from him, yeah.
I was like, wow, that's insight, that is. You know.
What did you do on the road? There's a picture of you here with your real abs. It's very funny with Steve Coogan, who I think is great.
Yeah.
What was the series he had? Telling you
Know Me, Knowing You.
Knowing Me, Knowing You.
Yeah, the chat show.
Really funny.
Fantastic.
And he did, like, one year he played a TV host, but I thought the radio host one was the funniest.
Yeah, Alan Partridge, yeah.
Alan Partridge. I'm Alan Partridge.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a fantastic creation.
What did you do on the road with him? Was it a play or was it like a live sketch?
It was a live show. He did about 5 of his characters, including Alan Partridge, actually. And we were on the road for about a year. We did 6 months on the road, and then we went into the West End of London, Broadway, for sort of 3 months, and had the most amazing time. It was like being in a rock band, you know.
Right. What is the West End like compared to, because the East Enders is a big show over there? Is that like kind of like the rough area, the east side?
It can be. It's all getting done up now because the Olympics is going to be there. So there's a lot of regeneration. But all the old crime families used to live in the East End.
Oh, really?
Crays, and yeah, that's where all the Cockneys come from. You know.
Yeah.
Who are the brothers? Who are the mob brothers?
The Cray brothers.
Oh,
yeah.
Cray brothers. Okay.
Yeah, the twins. Yeah.
There's supposed to be really a great documentary on those guys, which I've not
They were
seen.
a strange pair.
Are they
There's
dead?
oh yeah, but there's a lot of respect for them. A lot of old. There was that old code, you know, that existed. They looked after their own. They were brutal, you know, but they loved their mum, and that's the main thing. Isn't it?
Yeah. Church on Sundays, love your mother,
Exactly.
cut your best friend's throat because he fucking laid on the vig. So, were they Italians? Were they like mafia, like here mafia, or
No, they were just East End boys. You know? They were sort of. The Cockneys, as you know, well, they're people that are born within the signs of Bow Bells, which is a church. East Londoners aren't necessarily Cockneys, but they are. There's a lot of. It was a big working class area. There was a lot of, sort of community there, and they, you know, the way these things exist everywhere. You know, these crime families sort of evolve that are honourable and deadly.
And brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Where were you raised? What was it, middle class?
Gloucester, which is like kind of the West Country, like the in Hot Fuzz where we go. There's that little village in Hot Fuzz that we blow up.
Yeah.
I grew up somewhere like that.
Somewhere like that?
Yeah.
So was it hard to get into filmmaking, being like, I know the island is relatively small, but being out in what looked like the middle of nowhere, if it's something...
Well, I guess I moved, I went to college in Bristol, which is a bigger city, and then I became a stand-up comic, and to be a stand-up in the same way that you may have to move to New York or LA or Chicago, whatever, you have to move to London. So then I moved to London, and I was doing stand-up, and then I was starting to write for TV, then I got a sitcom, and then after the sitcom, which was Spaced, me and Edgar Wright filmed a scene in that when we were killing zombies.
Yeah.
And we thought, hey, we should make a film like that. That would be great to do that for 3 months. And that was Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Then bang, you make a little movie and someone sees it over here, then J.J. Abrams calls you and next thing you know, you're Scotty.
You're in Star Trek.
Yeah.
How did that feel, like getting the call to be...
That was nuts.
I mean, obviously you've probably were a Star Trek fan, being a sci-fi fan.
Yeah.
And then to play the role of Scotty is...
It was mental. I honestly, I think JJ had been cast in the movie. He'd seen a few people for Scotty, not found someone at that point, and then just thought, oh, I'll ask Pegg. And I literally got an email saying, like, quite exasperated, saying, do you want to play Scotty?
Yeah,
like, I was like, what do you got? What do you mean?
We dropped everything and...
Well, I didn't. I kind of was like, I felt like it was too much to say, like, yeah. I kind of went, I don't know. What shall I do? And then he said, look, the worst thing that can happen is every couple of years we get to have fun in space. And I thought, that's the best argument I've ever heard.
That's a great gig.
They're obviously making a sequel.
I think this year, I hope.
Yeah. The first, that one was amazing. I mean, the whole idea to be able to take the characters that everyone knew, was familiar with, and then replace them. Like, it was the perfect time, because years ago you couldn't do that. People would not buy the concept of changing, Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. Yeah. But the way that JJ did it is an amazing idea.
I genuinely think it was a stroke of genius. Just because, and the very fact that Leonard Nimoy was in it shows that nothing of old Star Trek didn't happen. It all happened. There's Spock. That's the Spock that did all that stuff.
Yeah. But they gave a way to work around that.
It's clever.
Hey, we could do all new adventures.
Did Shatner say no? They asked him, and he said no. He said nobody asked him, right?
No, he said no one asked him.
I think what happened was I think he was offered like a cameo, but he wanted to be slightly
a little more than that.
I don't know. I know that everything's fine. That William Shatner and Chris Pine have kind of met and stuff, and Shatner was very cool about it. And
the great little homages to the original series too. If you were a huge fan of Star Trek, you picked up on so many little jokes and little things that were. Did you kind of channel the original? Scotty, weirdly, in what you were doing?
I didn't want to sort of. I thought I can't go in there and do an impression of James Doohan because that would be doing him and the part a disservice. So I've got to go in there and play Scotty. So I just kind of tried to take it off the page. But I was sat in the transporter room. The guy who sat next to me is Chris Doohan, who's James Doohan's son. Yeah. So I at least had some kind of connection. And I always would go over it with Chris and say, look, this is my take on it. And he was so nice. And everyone else, like, the other guys, apart from, of course, DeForest Kelley, who passed away as well. So Carl Urban couldn't meet his sort of counterpart, but everyone else had a little relationship.
He did an amazing job.
He did, didn't he?
I mean, he came off like McCoy.
Damn it, Jeremy! Did all that
you totally picture that as being McCoy. Yeah. And I mean, getting Kirk's personality was great. Bombs. He just crossed his legs like he very femininely crosses his legs in there like Shatner did. But amazing. Can't wait for the second one.
Me too. I'm very excited to get back. They're a bunch of really sickeningly good-looking children, and it's fun working with them.
Now, as far as the book, are you touring this? You're doing signings?
I am. I'm doing a little signing tonight at the Strand and bookstore and
828 Broadway, by the way.
Thank you very much.
At 7 p.m. And you have interesting signings lined up. It's not just tonight here in New York, in Austin, which is for some reason I think you're going to have a massive turnout in Austin, Texas.
It's a great time.
It really is. I've only been there once, but I loved it. Wednesday, June 15th. That's this coming Wednesday at Book People at 7 p.m. and the address is 603 North Lamar Boulevard. And of course, L.A. would be Friday, so I guess that you have one day on and then one travel day. Yeah. Barnes and Noble at the Grove, 7 o'clock. That's 109 or 189 the Grove Drive. I can't read it. But just look for the Grove.
Everyone knows what the Grove is.
There's one fucking Barnes & Noble in the Grove. If you're at 109 and you're in front of a deli, retard, you're in the wrong place. Go 80 stores up.
I'm really excited to be doing the signing at the Strand Bookstore because I've had a Strand Bookstore T-shirt for like 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's another one of those moments where you wind up being somewhere that you've always kind of admired and
kind of in the. What am I trying to say? In that world that you just kind of looked into growing up.
Well, it's the same thing of being like a massive fan of E.T. and then having Steven Spielberg be in my movie. All those kind of moments of it's never lost on me. I still geek out about it. It's crazy.
That is huge.
When you release a book here, are you releasing this obviously in Britain?
Yeah.
Did it come out at the same time, or is there a separation?
No, it came out in Britain last year, and I wrote a special forward for this one to introduce it because there's a bunch of stuff in it that the American readers will be like, hey, what is that? You know, because it'll be a specifically British reference, but it's all easy to figure out. It's not like in British.
Yeah. It's not like reading Shakespeare.
It's all prithee, for I did go with Steven Spielberg unto the day. It's written like that.
Was that actually Shakespeare type talk with the exception of Spielberg?
Shakespeare type talk.
Spoken like a true actor.
You're a brilliant man. What's the newer movie you're working on?
The World's End. Yeah,
World's
that's what
End,
I'm about to start writing with Edgar Wright, which will be the third sort of part of our little sort of trilogy, I guess you call it. Sounds a bit pretentious, but that was Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then this will be the third one in that series of films. And we've been trying to get around to it for a while, you know, because Edgar went off and did Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which was fantastic. Nick and I went off and did Paul, and now we're looking at maybe a period when we can write this thing. So,
and what'll this kind of be about?
I can't tell you that.
Oh, okay.
I'm now attending the J.J. Abrams School of keeping my mouth shut.
Keeping your mouth shut. Boy, he is good at doing that too.
I saw Super 8 last night, and I know the guy, and I didn't know anything about it. It's
really
great. It's great.
Is it as good as they're saying?
It's beautifully done. I mean, it's a coming of age story. You know, it's all about the kids in it. Absolutely fantastic.
I should see that because everyone's been talking about it. For some reason, I keep confusing it with the Nick Cage movie, like
the old
8mm.
8mm, right?
Okay, I don't know why I keep thinking it's that.
So different.
I know.
The Fellini movie 8.5, of course.
Yes.
All the 8s. We should have an 8 festival.
Or my favorite show. What is it called? John and Kate plus 8.
What a weird combination of films.
That's such a good show. Her tits look really good, by
My
the way.
wife loves that show, actually.
Yeah, I saw
but
her
not for that reason, though.
Wouldn't it be great if that's the only reason she liked it?
Yeah.
Fuck the kids. Look at those titties.
J.J. Abrams has a great way of keeping things under wraps, and I guess with obviously Lost, that had to be like paramount to just not let people know what was going to happen.
I was a massive fan of that show, and on set of Star Trek, you know, we'd be working together, and I'd say, "What's happening then? Tell me what's going to happen." He just wouldn't. Yeah, he just wouldn't say that. Even jokingly, he was like, "No."
Yeah, not telling you anything.
He's just like talking to a
no
wall.
one knew. That really that show got such a huge audience.
It was great. Yeah,
everybody tuning in, trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
Nice contentious end as well. It really pissed a lot of people off.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Now, do you like that? The Sopranos ending and stuff. How do you feel about endings like that, where it's like, you could wrap things up and just be like, or you could be like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You're looking at the credits, just going, wait, what?
I liked it. I just thought, well, whatever it was going to be a bit of a letdown because it's the end of like 6 years of television. End on a controversial note, you know, and I have like my sister, who was a big fan. She went mad. She like stormed out of my house like, "Oh, sod this! I'm going."
What didn't you? I liked the scene with Christian and Jack and the kind of explaining that. Oh, this is that explained a lot of what season 6 was.
Yeah.
Although I hated a lot of season 6, I just thought that they didn't put the writing effort in that they should have. Like, I just didn't like a lot. I didn't like the set, that stupid thing with the guy who had the weird speech impediment, the guy who looked like fucking Weird Al Yankovic. Who was that creep? It just got weird.
I think the thing is, with TV in America, it's got to be one of the most difficult professions to work in because you might get cancelled next episode.
Yeah.
So you can't write with 6 years in mind. You have to write for the next episode. You've got to keep people coming back. And you chuck shit up in the air, and you don't know if you're going to catch it or not. And later on, you find you have to explain it. You think, oh, Jesus, what did that mean? They didn't know. They were just trying to keep people interested.
Yeah.
So to have to kind of explain it all at the end, it was too much to ask.
I like the idea on British television, too, how it's not like you don't have to go 20 years with a series.
Yeah.
You know, like Gervais was brilliant with The Office.
Skinny Gervais.
Skinny Gervais. Yeah. Skinny Gervais. What the hell happened? He was great, though. It's like, here's a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Really, like, you can just write at 1,000 miles an hour, all the funny in there. And
I think he had another 2 in him, to be honest.
Easily. I do, too.
I think it could, I mean, the American show is proof that it could have run and run. And I get why Ricky did it, you know. You got to kill your babies.
Yeah, well,
Coronation Street, In and Out.
In and Out.
Yeah.
35 years. Of,
No, it's 50.
is it 50 now?
years.
50
You
years.
know more than I do. Jesus.
Longest running show in history, obviously.
50 years.
The same guy's still on it. We talked about that last week.
Who's watching that?
Bill Roach. He plays a character called Ken Barlow. He's been in it for 50 years.
But I was saying that there
What
was
a
this,
gig.
Wow. Do you know how tired he is of playing? He wants to play anybody but Ken Barlow.
He just comes in and goes, oh, what? His wrists squirting blood as he walks onto set.
Oh, God, that does have to be a little... Well,
Do you watch it?
You'd want the
My wife does.
Does she like it?
She loves it. I mean, Coronation Street is an institution, and it keeps it. It's good. You know, it keeps it fun. It's not like
Is it like a soap opera would be here?
it is a soap, but not in the same way American soaps. It's different. It's a little bit more. American soaps are very sort of like multi-camera, you know, zooms, and they're a bit cheesy. And God love them, but they're a bit cheesy.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas it's a bit more gritty drama in the UK.
I told you I saw the one scene where what's his name? Ken
Barlow.
Ken Barlow was yelling at his wife for cheating on him. But it wasn't a soap opera yell. He was really mad. This bitch cheated on him. It was fucking great.
Yeah.
Soap operas are always with the dramatic turns, like you said, the close up. But this was a guy really being angry. I was like, I would watch
it's
this.
very kitchen sink. You know, it's good.
I like
enjoyed it.
American soaps, though, when like they ask someone a question, it's like, "What were you doing out with Bob?" And the girl just she kind of looks at the camera, and they fade to commercial.
Yeah.
But she's got to look all concerned for like that time between the question and by the time she fades out. So it's very awkward of just eyebrows moving and lips and
You know,
she bites her lip.
The best one is the classic American soap opera move is when two people hug and you see the one person looking all happy and then the other person's looking, oh, I'm not sure about this. It's like, that's the face of commercial
there's
moment.
a problem.
Yeah. I'm not in love with you.
Yeah, you know something's about to go down. Like her and Bob were out. They're supposed to be Hummel shopping, but she was like jerking him off behind a dumpster.
If Ken Barlow finds out, they're dead.
It's all over. What any do you do any TV in England?
Not
still,
really
or-
anymore.
No?
It's one of those things that you kind of do have to choose at some point. Just because if people can see you for free every night, they'll be a little less inclined to pay to see you at the cinema. So
Makes sense.
It's one of those things that you know. I remember I worked with David Schwimmer, and he was saying as much with Friends. You know, it's made them very wealthy and successful, but they all have to suffer that thing slightly of being on TBS every single night. So when they have a movie come out, people are like, "Well, I can see them at home for free."
Yeah. That was Band
And
of
he said-
Brothers?
Yeah, it was on
Yeah.
Band of Brothers. Well, I worked with him 3 times actually, but he said I'm going to be Ross for 20 years, and I've got no choice. But he was very philosophical about it, you know.
Is Jennifer Aniston the only one? Because I know I like this show that Matt LeBlanc did on Showtime, which I think they got a second.
Pages, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was good about the British couple that comes over and they get a gig on American TV, and the guy's such a twat, the guy that runs the network, and I think they got season 2, but it seems like they've all had trouble kind of grabbing.
Yeah.
Fucking Kudrow did the best show out of all of them, which was
The comeback, was it? Yeah.
That was
Holy
painful,
shit,
painful
was that
to watch.
great.
It was
Can I
so
just
good.
say
It was
it before we carry on? I love the way you Americans say twat.
twat,
Yeah.
or twat, yeah. Twat.
So you guys, we both our nations possess skills at certain swear words. There are certain swear words that British people cannot say that Americans, MFer is the best American swear word. But the British say twat and the C word.
Yeah, twat. Oh, well,
you could say it. We say
Cunt's all
twat and
yours.
cunt. But then again, Leonard Nimoy, nobody here knows who he is.
We don't heard that. We let that slide.
that is funny.
We did let that slide.
I wanted to go to. I've never been over to Britain. I've always kind of wanted to go there, but I don't know if for stand up. Did you ever do stand up here?
I don't think I did actually. You should go over and do some stand up.
I've never done it there. I don't know if they would enjoy it or not, but it's like a.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The same people, but it's a different.
I think they'd
vibe.
like you.
I think.
You'd
I don't
find
know.
that thing, you go over and do a couple of gigs and get a sense of what they like. You'd be in there very quickly because it's a cosmopolitan crowd. They'll get it.
How about the Comedy Store? Is supposed to be a great room over there.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest clubs and it's real popular.
Well, how long did you do stand up?
About 10 years.
Oh yeah, okay. So did you stop
Yeah.
totally?
It just became difficult. You got to stay match fit, haven't you? You got to keep doing it because otherwise you lose your edge. And I was working so much filming that I wasn't getting then I just felt. And then I did that year with Steve, and I was doing all characters, and I felt like I fell out of it. Do you know what I mean?
You'll
I'd
probably
love
get back
to-
into it. You go out and make a lot of money on the road as people come out to see you,
I
and
miss
you're a
it,
real
yeah.
comic. So
I
a
do
lot of
miss
guys
it,
do it
yeah.
after they've never done stand up, and it's like, it's always kind of shitty to see guys
Yeah.
never done comedy.
Yeah.
But if you're a legit comic,
I think that about Ricky, to be honest. I think when you see Ricky do stand up, he has this amazing thing because he's such a funny guy and he is a brilliantly funny guy. But because he came new to stand up, he did it afterwards. He has the kind of the stance of like a new act. You know, he's got that kind of slightly.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, he's got the material and the delivery of a pro.
But it just takes actually doing it. To lose that, I guess, awkward look on stage.
And he's very natural on stage, Gervais. Like, as far as the way he speaks off stage and on camera is the way he speaks on stage, which was kind of fun to watch. Like, I was like, wow, all right, he's a great performer. I mean, he's not fucking awkward speaking, but you could tell he's new.
Yeah.
You forget, like, it's weird to see him being new. 'Cause I think that fucking David Brent, I think, is the best character ever.
Yeah,
I take that over Archie Bunker.
Hysterical.
I really, like, the greatest of all time. And then to see him doing something new. I'm babbling, by the way.
That's why I honestly think it was sad. I find that the fact that he stopped doing Brent was a tragedy, because then he did extras, which I didn't enjoy so much because it felt like he was reining it in a bit.
He was holding it back.
He couldn't be free.
I agree with you. I liked extras, but
I did too.
It's tough to watch that after
But it was more
seeing
about
The Office.
it was more about the cameos. And
he should have done extras first, and then it might have.
Yeah. Because Brent's just like, I mean, it's
unbelievable.
Brilliant.
It was hard to see in extras because Andy Millman couldn't be as broken as David Brent was.
Right.
At least Andy Millman was in the business on some level, but David Brent was just an absolute zilch. Nothing worse than a guy who's desperately trying to be funny and isn't. You're just like, shut the fuck up.
The genius was. You kind of, and this is the same with all characters like Bunker, like Faulty. You root for them. You just think, please, just win once.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Don't do what I know you're gonna do.
Yeah. And then at the end of the Christmas special, when he's kind of getting on well with that girl and she likes him, and he tells his mate to
Chris Finch, fuck off.
Finchy,
It's like you just go, yes,
finally.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, he really stuck at the Finch.
Yeah.
But although Finch had a great line in one of the series, it was they did the worst Office jokes. Like a girl, the fucking Dawn went down to pick something up, and he goes, "Why down there, love?" That always made me laugh. It was just such a cheese dick fucking guy thing to say. But you could see why people would like him. He was one of those guys that would fire out horrible line after horrible line that were funny because he was saying them.
Like a sort of bully, like a comedy bully. Like you gotta go with it because he's a brilliant.
He was always one-upping stupid David. And David, like, I was going to say that, but you didn't. He was always, and we've all been in those relationships on both ends of them.
Absolutely,
that's good. Psychoanalyze The Office. I should be executed, by the way. But Simon's book is called Nerd Do Well, and it's a real book. It's not like a lot of famous people write really small books. This is like a 350-page. This is a real book.
I wrote it as well, which is rare for these kind of biographies.
Yeah, I always look for a with on the bottom. With so-and-so. Whoever's with wrote it.
I wrote every fucking word, I promise you.
I would gather your artwork
from when I was like 12.
When you were a kid?
Oh, that's a cool idea.
That is cool. Look at you.
And
you were crazy your whole life.
Simon has a hard out in 3 minutes. They said 9:25, so let me get the plugs out. Here in New York tonight at the Strand Bookstore, 7 o'clock. It's 828 Broadway, which I think is Lower Broadway, but just Google it.
It's right near Union Square, I think.
Oh, it is? Okay, so it's around 14th. So Wednesday, Austin, Texas, which, again, there's going to be lines in these places. Book People, 7 o'clock. It's 603 North Lamar Boulevard. And in L.A. this Friday, Barnes & Noble in the Grove, and it's either 109 or 189. Just, look for both.
Thank you.
Can't find it. You're an idiot.
Simon, man, looking forward to reading the book, seeing you in Star Trek, any other things that you're doing over the years, man.
We got Tintin coming out at the end of the year, which is going to be good. And I just did Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which is going to be
holy shit,
awesome. It's directed by Brad Bird, did The Incredibles and Ratatouille and The Iron Giant. His first live-action movie. So he's brought all that brilliance from those films to a big Tom Cruise movie.
Did you go to the fucking... because I'm obsessed with Tom... I would love to know what the insurance is to get him on the fucking
Burj. I was up there with him. I swear to God.
Really?
He leant out. This is a building that is higher than some planes go.
Yeah. Sure.
He leant out and he looked back in at everyone with this big shit-eating grin on his face, like, let's do this. I don't know how he does.
Wow.
The guy is a machine. It's hilarious.
How was it being up there? Because he was... Not only did he go outside the observation deck, but for the promo shots, he was sitting on top, as high as you can go on the building, on top of where, I guess, the radio tower part, just facing out. And he was bolted in.
Yeah.
But it's an impossible. There's no way you could get me to do it. I couldn't do it for any of my
I
life.
wouldn't go within, like, I don't even have a problem with heights, and I wouldn't go 10 meters from the window. It was really, obviously the safety was locked down.
Did you have anything, because I know it was him and who was the other guy, Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner. Did you have anything to do with the outside of the building or no?
Yeah, we're all in that scene. That's an amazing sequence, and but I didn't have to go on. Jeremy had to do a little hanging out.
Yeah, he did, right?
I didn't.
What'd you have?
Just stayed inside.
No. I do like doing my own stunts and stuff, but that was just like, that was the limit.
Yeah,
but it's going to be, it's coming back all guns blazing, this story.
When's it out?
Great. I think it's out towards Christmas.
Oh, fuck. I cannot wait. I never cared about Mission Impossible.
Right? Yeah.
I cannot wait till this one comes out for that reason.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Huge, man. Simon, thanks so much.
Man.
Thanks,
Thank you very much, buddy.
for coming in. Thank you, man.
So glad to be back and put my grumpy ghost to bed.
Nah, you're
Sweater, man.
we're all fans, man.
Rob
Gregorio! Antonio!
Amy.